For those of you who've seen my first creep video, go watch that and come back here. Or don't. So this is my take on creep again. This is my revisited take. Joseph, the creep, posts an ad on Craigslist for a videographer to film his last days to show his unborn child, Buddy, what kind of man he is. And Aaron, being short on cash, has accepted the call, driven up to the mountain by himself, and agrees to be his videographer. I was watching it yesterday because I was just so bored, and something I noticed, how many static takes there were of Aaron holding the camera, not doing much. Most of those static takes took place in the tub, in the dining room, and the diner. And then I thought, I know why, but then I thought, why didn't Joseph just get a tripod and film those pieces? Why didn't he get like a GoPro and just, oh, hey buddy, this is what your dad is like, this is what he's doing, this is the kind of man I am. Like, looking at it again, it's just like, oh yeah, like that should have been a red flag. Like, okay, yeah, some people like to be recorded and get a full body picture, but it would be more intimate to do it yourself and to set up a tripod. I thought that would have made much more sense than to have somebody else do it. But obviously he needed a person because he's a serial killer. And that would have just been a red flag to somebody like me in the audience. And also, Joseph, he consistently startled Aaron when he was in a car about to leave. It's my cat. In the car about to leave. And he scared him there. Many times he would just like run off and then boo, do that a lot with Aaron. And I felt like, wouldn't that make Aaron's guard go up, because his anxiety is now elevated because Joseph consistently scares him. So it puts Aaron more on guard and it makes Aaron more braced to deal with Joseph's foolishness and his constant jump scares. I feel like with somebody like that, I could never. Okay, because it's like, okay, what are you doing? Because he was a goofy and consistently trying to scare him. I get it, because that was part of his tactics as being a serial killer. But I feel like alarm should have been going off like, he's a goofy. Why is he constantly trying to scare me? That's really weird. Something's wrong with you. As a woman, I don't know. I don't know if it's the fact that he was a man and he didn't play on that, or he just thought this guy was just a poor man who was dying of cancer, so he's harmless. Obviously that was part of the front, but even still, I would be like, this guy is weird. I'm not gonna do this. I'm playing my exit right now. So that all that goofiness is all the more reason why Aaron should have left, or just been in a space to anticipate more jump scares. And all the oversharing that Joseph does is a lot like love bombing to me. I get that he had the story of the cancer and he was filming for his kid, but all that other, if you all watched the movie, it was weird. When you come to find out that he doesn't have a wife and he doesn't have a kid, the weird story that he told Aaron that was really gross, it's like, did you just like come up with that, or did you really do some sick stuff like that? And it's just, to me, I'm like, nasty. And so the oversharing, I don't get it, because it was gross. It wasn't like anything endearing to make him lower his guard. But telling him that sick story was just disgusting. And I don't get, it wasn't a story that was endearing, that said, oh, you know what, this runs in my family and I didn't know my dad and this and that. It was nasty. And I don't see, that wasn't something that would have brought the characters closer together, which was very, very peculiar to me. It was very peculiar to me. So anyway, a lot of times love bombing is done as a manipulation tactic to get people to lower their guard, to create a false sense of closeness, which would have made sense in this area, but he was just being weird. It was too much. I would have been gone. Also, Aaron kept his guard down and did not listen to his intuition. And when they came back from the diner, which another red flag to the audience, when he said, let's see what's good here, Aaron said, hey, I thought you said you came here all the time. He said, oh yeah, they got a new menu and I'm just looking to see what's good now. That's a red flag. Like, he should have dropped dude off and left, or better yet, left him at the restaurant. I'll be right back. get in my car and go. Girl, bye. I don't care. Before you get any more information on me. He showed him, I think at the restaurant, he took pictures of him on the porch, which is why when Aaron was ringing the doorbell, there was no answer. That's weird. And he said, I took pictures because I didn't know who you were and this and that. And now that I know you are a good person, I'm sorry. Girl, no. Like, but he doesn't have that spidey sense like a lot of people should have. So when he got back from that restaurant and it was dark and it is shown as the movie poster where he's standing and he's a black figure and he has the lights behind him, that is when he should have left again. I mean, many times over. But this was like probably his second closest time getting an option to be free from danger, because it's easier to leave from the porch than try to get out of Joseph's house. And once he got into Joseph's house, he got way too comfortable. He took his jacket off, kicked his feet up, to drinking. He didn't do all of that, but he had his jacket off and he was drinking. And he wasn't drunk, but he just had like one drink. And you can see that when they said, okay, let's toast, Joseph just put the cup up to his lips like, and I'm like, I hope he saw that, but I mean, would it have mattered? There were a billion, million, 50-11 red flags, and Aaron still just continued to be silly and just dumb. So like I said, he was just too comfortable. His guard was too low. He should have had his keys in his pocket, clenched in his fist, Wolverine style, in case anything went down. Idiot, just an idiot. And my take still stands that he's an idiot, and that's what I said in the first one. He's an idiot now. He been an idiot, been a fool. And it's just the fact that he didn't keep his keys at the ready, he didn't stay near the door, and he didn't maintain an exit plan, which is wild. He just waited till things just got weirder and weirder and weirder. And he was dumb. And I feel like from a woman's survival perspective, I think many women just pretty much know to keep your keys accessible, track your exits, clock the escape routes, notice like the consistent patterns of isolation, because that's definitely what I do, and Aaron doesn't do any of that. For example, my boyfriend is into the hard rock scene and I am not. It's just too much, and a lot of them be musty. And the first hardcore show was in Wisconsin, and I'm very unfamiliar, and I was one of very few people of color there, so I wasn't sure if I was in friendly territory. A lot of people mosh and they push. I don't like that. I don't want to be pushed, and some people just play too much and they just do too much. And like I said, if I'm coming to a concert or a show, I want to enjoy the music and vibe, but I don't want to be pushed. I don't want to be thrashed around. So that's the culture of hardcore shows. So there was this one guy who stood in the middle, and from behind he looked kind of, I don't know, but he wasn't participating. He was just standing there, and people were like bumping into him on purpose, trying to get him to move. He just stood there. So I was like, oh, he's got some, my red flags were waving, and I'm like, something's up. I'm a rookie. It's my first hardcore show, so I'm very green in the scene. I'm not even trying to be in the scene, but I was just like, one of these things is not like the other. So he was just standing there menacingly, and I'm like, this ain't right. So I took note. I was like, okay, in case I gotta get out of here, in case he's one of them ones that's, one of them ones, you know what I mean. I'm like, all right, so there's an exit to the left, to the right of me. You gotta push that door to get out. There's an exit behind me, but I'm like right on the exit. The exit behind me is a pull door. So I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, if he goes crazy, I'll just pull the door and run. And then there's a further exit back, but there were people in the exit. Hello, fire marshal, where are you? Because that is definitely a danger. There was no clear path to leave. And I was like, it's too many people right there. The closest exit is the exit behind me. And if I pull this door and run, then I'm gone. Because I was freaking out. I'm like, why isn't he thrashing around? I don't want to be thrashed or moshed, but like, is he planning something? I was scared, and I'm like, okay, just pull the door and run, and I'll have to catch up with the rest of my group later. Come to find out, I learned that some people are like that. They stand there so they get pushed, and they get riled up and then they go crazy and start kicking and punching and thrashing and moshing. It is not my scene. And like I said, they were musty. It was an enclosed space. There was no ventilation. I'm pretty sure it was a bunch of building codes that were being violated because it smelled bad. They were musty. They stunk. That was the biggest offense for me. I'm like, I want to be around these musty people. And there was another event where they were musty too. But the first one, I was like, y'all stink. So I was like, I wasn't really trying to wait and see, but thank God nothing happened, because I was like, okay, if I have to do this, I have to do it. I can't halfway do it. I gotta pull the door and run down the street. I was scared. But that's the whole point. Fear is not a useless emotion. Fear is definitely, it's helpful. So my final thoughts again about Creep is that movie would have been over with in 30 minutes if he had some common sense, some common doggone sense, and just left. I know he needed the money, but girl, he had to get his car towed because Joseph wouldn't give him his keys in the house. So he's out even more money. And Joseph gave him some money, and I'm like, oh, let me pay you in the beginning. Girl, that was probably $10. Girl, you did all of that. And now, I mean, he's dead now, so girl, he probably didn't tell nobody what was going on. So he's dead. He's probably missing, dead, and don't nobody know anything, because he didn't talk to anybody but the camera. And Joseph has the camera now. It's sick. But the moral of the story, trust your gut and run very far away at the first sign of danger. So if you guys like this recap again of Creep, let me know what other scary movies you guys want to talk about, because I know I got a whole bunch more in this noggin of mine. So thanks for listening, and I'll see you all in the next one.